Right, let's unpack the significance now of the Apex Court ruling. We're joined by our political editor, Vuyo Mvoko. Vuyo, perhaps let's start with whether we've had reaction from some of the respondents listed on this case.
Indeed, we've heard that they are very excited because of the possibility that this opens up. It means that theoretically, at least, you and I can go and stand for political office, whether it's in a provincial legislature or the National Assembly, which can only be good for democracy. But I don't think, but what's important to underline is that this is a correction of a defect that was there, the Constitutional Court affirming the right of an individual to associate or not associate if they so wish, and with that it means that your ability to stand for political office on your own cannot be affected by whether or not you belong to a political party, which is very important.
And there's been some voices from various sectors of the society in South Africa saying that perhaps we need electoral reforms in this country, but it's not going to be anything that is going to happen anytime soon. The court giving 24 months for Parliament to fix the electoral system.
Yes, I mean, this is only one part of a whole set of electoral reforms that are needed to take this country forward, especially on the back of lessons we have learnt from the big parties that have ruled the country up until now. So you do indeed need to break their hold. This can only be good for democracy. But we can't be overly excited, because the fact of the matter is that you have the kind of system that the courts have actually directed Parliament to put in place over the next 24 months elsewhere in the world. But it hasn't quite resulted in the kind of environment that the proponents of these kinds of reforms actually want or desire, because the fact of the matter is that big parties continue to rule the world, and it's not difficult to understand why, because they tend to have a better ability to raise funds for elections, but also to make up for what they get from their funders by, accommodating whether it's big business or other lobby groups. So there's something in it for everyone when you have political parties running, whereas individuals can only promise so much, but their ability to deliver what big business and other people who put money behind the election of political parties actually do. So a victory for democracy, but this is not the time to be overly excited or enthusiastic about its actual and very real prospects.
You talk about big parties continuing to rule the world, and you outline why. When we look at internal dynamics and what this could potentially mean for political parties in terms of people breaking away and taking their, if you will, popularity with them to do other things.
Well, a possibility exists, of course, or an opportunity, maybe, is how one should put it, for political parties to actually get their house in order, to get rid of people who are in their midst but not adding any value. But, of course, contestation among and within political parties is something that is to be welcome. It's also something that is very real. You do have people who may not add to the moral side of a political party, but in terms of numbers that they actually bring, they become, significant players. So those things do actually exist, and this ruling is not going to change that much. But research throughout the world has actually shown that the election or the eligibility of independent candidates does actually help the system, because it reduces the chances that big and dominant political players tend to have, even if it does so by merely reducing the numbers of people who are able to elect a particular political party without necessarily displacing them. But even those small victories are to be welcome, because small as they might be, they add overall to a healthy democracy.
Let's leave it there with ENCA political editor Vuyo Mvoko in our newsroom. Do stay